I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Tullahoma City Planning Commission meeting for tonight, and call the meeting to order. Looking around the room, I see we've got 6 attendees, so therefore we do have a quorum to proceed with business. And so let's begin. I'll ask Brother Ray Noas if he will lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just praise your holy name and thank you for all the many blessings in life. At this time, we ask you to bless this proceedings of this meeting, and we ask our actions will be pleasing in your sight. These things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the members of the board will please, or commission will please review the minutes on page 3.
Move to approve.
Second. I have a motion and second to approve the minutes as written and presented on page 3. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. We don't have it listed on here, but I would like you to look at the agenda and make sure that there's nothing we need to add or remove. Hearing no additions or corrections, we'll proceed with the reports of officers and staff.
Staff has no reports tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have no old business to take care of, so we will proceed to new business. We have 2 public hearings tonight. The first public hearing, number A, zoning map amendment 226, a request to rezone the property at 211 West Coffee Street from high density residential R3 to general commercial C2, the applicant being Sybil Solari. And this request begins on page 4 and carries through to page 9, 10, 11. So I will open the public hearing for comments or statements from the public. You'll be allowed 2 minutes to speak.
Go ahead.
You'll be allowed 2 minutes to speak. If you have something to say, come to the podium, give us your name and your address, and proceed with your comments.
I was just going to inform the board that this is at 211 West Coffee Street. It's approximately about half an acre, the size of the lot. It's zone R3, but the request is for C2. The lot is already developed with a C2 or a commercial structure. It was non-conforming. The previous business discontinued a little over 3 years ago, so they lost their non-conforming status. So it needs to be rezoned so the applicant can open a beauty, I think it's a beauty academy or a hair salon. So it'll have 2 different occupancies in it. And the staff gives it a favorable recommendation based on those facts.
And it was an operating commercial business until 1988 or something?
Well, it was, the structure, the commercial structure was built in 1988.
Okay.
And it was used as commercial from then until probably about 2015, 2016.
But it didn't have commercial, it wasn't zoned commercial?
Right, or I don't know what it was when it was originally built, what it was zoned, but what it's zoned right now is R3. And I don't know if it changed with the adoption of the new zoning ordinance and the new zoning map back in 2009. Because there was a lot of things that were changed around the city as far as zoning classifications at that time.
Could they go on as a business as R3 though?
No. The only thing that's allowed in R3 is residential uses.
And that's what it's zoned right now.
Yes.
But it's not open yet.
No.
No, but you had a business in there up until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that not against the rules?
Well,
Why did we up, you know?
Well, it was continuous at that time as being a nonconformity if it's continuously after it changed the zoning and they.
They're grandfathered in.
Yes, sir.
They have, how long is it they have to?
3 years.
So they wait too long.
So if it had been gone a year and somebody had come back in there, that could have stayed at the same.
Same use. If they would have came back with the same use that it was when it.
Grandfather.
Yeah, then they could have reopened it without having to rezone.
Okay.
And rezoning it to C2 just gives them the flexibility to be able to reopen again under whatever commercial business they want to run there. Do we have any comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion on this request.
Move to approve.
Second. I have a motion and second to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen concerning the rezoning of the property at 211 West Coffee County from R3 to C2. Is there any other discussion?
I'll just comment, Mr. Chairman, in initially looking at this, I said, well, that's probably going to constitute spot zoning. But in going and looking at it, it's very consistent with C2. Properties all around in C2. There's one house adjacent to it, it's R1. So I certainly think it's appropriate to make the C2.
Any other comments? If not, then all those in favor of sending a favorable approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen on this, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. It carries. The next is a request from Howard and Barbara Wright for a voluntary annexation of property at 471 Parkway Road, requesting to be annexed to the city. We will open the public hearing on this. All those parties under the same rules as stated before for a public hearing may come forward now and make your voices heard.
Just wanted to go ahead and give a brief summary to the board.
Very good.
It's about 0.685 of the acre. It's the owners who are doing a voluntary annexation. The property is already developed with a single-family home and an accessory structure. It is adjacent or contiguous with the city limits as well to the south and to the west. The character of the area is low-density residential with single-family homes, so it will fit in with the current development pattern inside the city limits. The property will be zoned, if it is annexed, zoned R1, just like the lots that it's contiguous to inside the city limits.
And there are several lots up and down this area that are already annexed in
Yes,
to
sir.
the city.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. All the required services will be able to be provided to them immediately after, if they are annexed. So there wouldn't be any delay in services. And one thing that we did add to the packet that wasn't in the original packet sent out was the school system. They did finally send us the form signed, and it's stating that they would be able to serve this lot if they were to have school-age children.
And that is on page 26. The material for this runs from page 12 to page 28. I'm sorry, it's on page 28. Hearing no comments from the public, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion on this request.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Wait.
I got some questions now that we've, Lee, I don't know if you were here during the time that we had knocked down drag-outs and litigation with this part of town or not. Had there been some areas of concern on Parkway in the past because of zoning and spot zoning and,
Right. I wasn't here during that, but it's pretty evident. You can look at the map and see where.
It's like a shotgun.
Yeah, going up and down the street, how you got a lot in, and you got like 2 lots out, and then a lot in.
So their reasoning for wanting to be annexed in is just to avail themselves of the services of our great city.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're willing to pay for them.
I know.
Well, it kind of fills in a donut hole. I mean, it doesn't do the whole, but you get a little, get one part in there where it's like a jigsaw puzzle up there. At least, it is contiguous, and so you get to plug in one more area there. Hopefully, we can get more than one at a time in the future.
What we did out there is a number of years ago, developers of Hunter's Ridge wanted all the city services the city can provide when they were developing that property. And in order for us to be able to annex that, which they wanted, they requested that we do, we annex it by way of Parkway Road. And at that time, we gave property owners the option to join into that annexation if they wished to. And some did and some did not, but periodically, other people apply for being annexed, on a voluntary basis. Probably these people have school-age children and they want to be annexed to second tuition. That's just a guess, but of course that would be available to them if they were annexed.
Sure.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to send a favorable recommendation on the annexation of the property at 471 Parkway Road to the city of Tullahoma, to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We've pretty much had the discussion already, but that's okay. We got all that out of the way already. So unless there's more discussion, I'll call the vote. And hearing none, all those in favor of approval of this annexation say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Motion carries. We have one more piece of new business, and I'll let Mr. Lawson, why don't you go ahead and give us some information on this mobility plan.
This is a plan. We was awarded a TDOT planning grant a few months back. We applied with the city of Manchester through our rural planning organization or regional planning organization, which is a transportation planning. What it is it's going to encompass, as far as inside the city limits of Tullahoma, all the state routes, or the major state routes, of like 130, 55, 41A, and then of course it will also include the old Manchester Highway as well too, or Lincoln Street. It's to look at transportation. It's not just, it includes vehicles, but it also includes pedestrian and cycling and to look at the facilities, look at the interaction between those particular types of modes of transportation, and try to get public input to come up with policies that would be able to increase the mobility of our citizens. It also looks at the interconnectivity between us and Manchester as well too, through the old Manchester Highway route and the new 55 route. So it's sort of regional to a certain degree in concept, where you're getting the two major towns in the county together in one joint plan. And the meeting on the 14th will be at D.W. Wilson Center from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's not going to be a traditional type of meeting where someone's going to be sitting up there and giving a talk or a Q&A or something of that nature. It's going to be one of these where there's going to be workstations. You come in, you're greeted, you go to those stations. There'll be somebody there to discuss what the station is there for, as far as how it contributes to the plan. And then there's some interactive stuff with maps, and citizens can go in there and give them their concerns at certain areas, as far as from, if they have school children and they're walking to school or riding their bikes, a specific route, as long as it's within a state route or close to a state route. And it include vehicles, pedestrian, and cycling as well too. And you don't have to stay there for the whole 2 hours. You come in, you can go look at the stations and talk to them, ask all the questions you like, get your input in, and then you can leave as soon as you want to. So it's very helpful. I've been through planning events like this before. It's not the dry where you're sitting there and you're listening to somebody drone on and on and on, and then of course have some Q&A. It actually is kind of interactive.
And sometime in the future, when decisions are made, this board is going to have to take action on some of that. Am I correct?
Right. Before once the plan is done, it'll be brought to the Planning Commission here for a recommendation, a review and recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
So it might behoove us to be there and see this and understand it clearly.
And this will be the only public meeting. We're having two. There'll be one in Manchester, one in Tullahoma, and then there'll be a second public meeting in the fall, but they're going to consolidate it to one area, which will be the Coffee County Government Plaza. They try to find a middle point between the two towns, and then invite people again to see the finished product or that particular draft, and to see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked or shored up or added to it.
And to answer your question, Ray, no, this doesn't cover Riley Creek Road. I'm sorry.
Well,
we wish it would, but
what I hope that it will do is to provide some relief to people who live on the north side of Tullahoma to get to Manchester.
yeah.
You have to come back to Tullahoma to start. You can get to Manchester from your house quicker than I can.
Yeah, you can't
And
get
I live
there.
a lot closer.
You can't get there from your house.
That's right.
And we'll hope that'll be worked out during that. So that was just an information sharing point.
And just be clear on it, it is just state routes, the numbered state routes.
Okay.
And this is open to the public?
Yeah, everybody.
Okay. And are you putting that in the newspaper, or how do you get,
Well,
I'm
we're
sure
gonna-
like some people have vested interest, like the Highland Rim Cycling Club and
Or they're
people like
gonna
that.
send me a bunch of, I'm gonna get up with Winston Brooks, who's
Okay.
and we're gonna email it to groups. We're gonna put it on the web page and our Facebook page. Really want to get involved with trying to get schools involved with it. You got the high school there on 41A. That's been an issue crossing the street there. This is a type of plan that should address those particular type of issues. So we want as many of the stakeholders in town to participate and get their input and hear what their concerns are.
Great.
And so our next meeting will be Monday, May the 20th. 4:30. And with nothing further on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Meeting is adjourned.